top elite next level quarterback. Here's the problem, though. His recipe for success is not something they can replicate consistently enough to win a Super Bowl. What am I talking about? Too much of his success comes from outside the structure of the system. The play that was called is not always the play that they're going to run because Russell Wilson thrives in broken plays. So there's just too much of a diet on broken plays. What happens? Now we're off script. We like where we're going, but that's not where we intended to go. So I know how he became this guy. I know how let Russ cook became a thing. It's because he was on a team led by rushing attacks and tremendous defenses. And then he had his early success. And then part of his ego, like everyone else has a healthy ego, especially a superstar like Russ, you start to think it's you. And you start to say, oh, let me get more of this so I can do more of me. Here's the problem. You're going fast down a one-way street. You ever ride around the neighborhood with your boy? We used to have these huffies. Hitting that corner. Hey. And it obviously pays to have home field advantage. Know where you at. Your boy hit that corner, you just stop. And he's like, why you stop? Like, dog, that's a one-way. You coming back. I know where you going. You ain't going far. You coming back. That's the Seattle Seahawks. We've seen it time and time again. This is not a hot take. This is a real take. Russell Wilson is 3-6 in his last 9 playoff games with the Seahawks, averaging 21 points a game. Has gone one and done in 2 of his last 3 playoff appearances. No matter what he's cooking, no matter how he's trying to approach the kitchen, it's too off script for them to go out there and replicate that success all the way to a Super Bowl.
Okay, if you say all the way to a Super Bowl, fair. I think Russell Wilson is good enough to carry the Seahawks. The reason I think he is, because he's shown us he's always been able to. Going on his 10th year now, him and I were the same draft class.
Okay.
He's only missed the playoffs 1 time.
Facts. 2017.
Beast. So if you've made the playoffs 8 out of 9 times, then you have shown me, and mathematically you've shown the world at a B++ or a A- level, depending on what your grading system was growing up, that you're capable of making it to the playoffs and doing it again.
That's real.
The other reason I very simply know that he's good enough to carry the Seahawks, they'll get this thing turned around, Sal. They'll get this thing turned around. We remember last year, the defense did not start off great at all. Last year, the first 6 games for the defense, they ranked 23rd, but then they turned it around very quickly. Last 10 games, they ranked 5th. They were last in total defense. They finished 6th in total defense. Russell Wilson has seen this story before. Seahawks, y'all have seen this story before. 12th man seen this story before. NFL fans seen this story before. Me and Marcellus Wiley have seen the story before. The Seahawks defense starts off bad. They pick it up towards the end. Russell Wilson, he ain't even been blazing that hot. We know he still has more in the tank. But furthermore, some dudes just know how to win. Some dudes just know how to run the race properly, good enough to put their team or themselves on the podium at the end. I think that's Russell Wilson.
Interesting, Acho. You said that they will turn this around. The defense turned it around last year, and the offense let them down last year when it mattered most. Second half of the season, what happened to Russell Wilson? What happened to this offense? It went away. From week 10 through the end of 2020 season, Wilson ranked in the bottom half of the league in passing yards per game, 25th to be nice, and passer rating, 18th to be nice. For a guy who's still looking for his first MVP vote, that's not how you finish this season. Let's talk about this, Acho. You can't give him credit like you want to give him credit for just making the playoffs. Why? Because last time I checked, Nipsey, rest in peace, 43.75. I didn't even have to do that, but 75 is my number. 43% of the league makes the playoffs. Wait a minute. Now, if you go into a class, it's like, all right, I got a 43 on my paper. You back at Texas freshman year, right? In that one class, microeconomics, I remember. Your parents. Here's the thing. 43% of the league makes the playoffs. Just about half. Okay, yay. But what are you going to do with those opportunities? And of late, with Russell Wilson leading the charge, it's not been enough. Let's be real. Once they paid Russell Wilson the most money in the league, and then that turned into just the most money on the Seahawks, but still top 5 in the league, you know what happened? They didn't have the proper resources to spread around. So then it became more important, the onus on you, Russell Wilson, to really cook. I mean, perfect Michelin-style meals, right? Let's just be real about it. In the playoffs, we haven't seen that. And when it matters most, when they were jockeying to win a division, when they were jockeying for playoff seeding, they started to erode, especially offensively. They think that they've corrected their errors with a new offensive coordinator. This year, so far, 2 games, they've lost double-digit leads. That happens 2 ways. The defense, hey, we can't stop them scoring. And the offense, they stop scoring. And that's what happened in the second half of the last game. We did not see them come out and score another point. Therefore, they lose another game.
See, so I don't think it's that complex, man. I think the Seahawks are just the NFC version of the Chiefs. They're a really good team. They've lost some close games. They've lost some bad losses. Seahawks lost in overtime against the Tennessee Titans, remember?
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans were very upset because they had an ugly loss week 1.
Okay.
But the Seahawks are sitting at 1-2. I'm still confident in them. But remember, we just talked about this, y'all.
Okay.
The NFL wants this. The NFL's goal is parity, but Russell Wilson, like Patrick Mahomes, will rise beyond it. The Seahawks are one of 4 division winners from last season that are 1-2 now. Chiefs, 1-2. Steelers, 1-2.
Yeah.
Washington football team, 1-2. So it's not as though this is rare. The Seahawks have to play the number 1 overall teams from the other divisions based upon finishing number 1 overall last year. So I'm not freaking out, just like I'm not freaking out about the Chiefs. Ultimately, the Seahawks, to me, are still better than the Arizona Cardinals as long as Russell Wilson is a quarterback and Pete Carroll is the head coach and Cliff Kingsbury is the head coach and Kyler Murray is the quarterback. Russ is better than Kyler right now, and Pete Carroll is better than Cliff Kingsbury. So I still think when the dust settles, the Seahawks will rise above the Arizona Cardinals. If you rise above the Arizona Cardinals, I still think you will find yourself in the playoffs. The Cardinals will as well. I've always said that. But I think the Seahawks will find themselves in the playoffs.
That's a take that you like because you said it, about a team that you like because you meant it. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Let's go back to the locker room. And I don't hear this enough in the media. I used to hear it in the locker room all the time. Loss column. Like, I used to hear loss column all the time. I used to say the record, and coach was like, no. We only 2 back in the loss column. And I'm like, oh, that's a little different. Look at this. There's a 1-2 team and a 3-0 team. You 2 back. That means even if they lose, you're still back. Even if they lose again, you ain't up. Woo, they are behind, dog. All I'm going to say to you is this. Your defense is last. Total defense. Seattle Seahawks. The defense is last? What's next? They don't have a 12th man? Like, this is just insanity. And then Russ is out there doing something, but it's not full of blaze cooking. So you add those 2 things up, 22nd in takeaways, which is the cheap, easy money that you get from another team getting the ball back. I just don't see the formula for success.